What if I told you that knowing all the answers is almost a guaranteed way to fail your Amazon interview? Here's the truth. Amazon doesn't hire know-it-alls. The moment you think you know everything, that's the kiss of death at Amazon. I'm Nick, a former Amazonian and a bar raiser. In this video, I'll share 5 real stories from my time at the company to illustrate one specific leadership principle that the Amazon interviewers are quietly testing you for, so that you could master it in your interview and get hired. My first story of the 5 is how I turned a Starbucks coffee shop into a training ground for one of my future Amazon hires. While at Amazon Games, I hired this person, let's call him Tony. Tony was in Seattle. He went through his Amazon interview loop. We decided to hire him, but he needed a working visa in order to start his Amazon employment. The working visa would take 3 months to complete. So we could either sit on our hands and wait for the 3 months, or we could start working together. And that's what we decided to do. He and I started meeting every week at a local Starbucks here, local Starbucks next to the Amazon spheres. And we started having a set of unofficial one-on-ones. I obviously could not disclose anything confidential to Tony because he had not signed his employment paperwork, but we started meeting to get him going. We talked about the industry, the type of advertising knowledge he needed to have, and in a way that served as Tony's training wheels. He was meeting with me unofficially for 3 months, once a week, and got going in his new job. I also asked him to write an Amazon document for me, a narrative, so that he could learn about Amazon exacting writing culture. And we started building this knowledge set in him before we were even supposed to. So that when his visa came 3 months later on the dot, he was ready to hit the ground running. What we did, Tony and I, was an illustration of the Amazon leadership principle, learn and be curious. Amazon is not looking for know-it-alls. They're looking to hire people who can learn, who can unlearn, and who can stay curious. That's the essence of this leadership principle. In your Amazon interview, look for questions where you can describe your ability to learn new concepts, to remain curious. As you exchange information with each interviewer, apply that information in how you communicate with them, in the questions that you ask them at the end of the interview. It's incredibly important to display learning and being curious in your Amazon interview. My second story today that displays the importance of the learn and be curious leadership principle is how we snuck Amazon Games in the Apple App Store walled garden. When we started Amazon Games, Amazon was a first-party publisher, meaning we were building games to publish only on our platforms and our devices. In time, it became obvious that our gamers were not just on our devices, and that in order to reach them, we had to publish those games on other companies' platforms. Apple App Store is the leading platform for mobile games, and we had to figure out a way how to do so, how to publish our games on that App Store. The tricky piece is that each of these App Store owners charges a 30% platform fee, so we needed to find a way to publish our games on the Apple App Store and circumvent the 30% platform fee as best as possible. I'm not going to bore you with the details of how I did this, but it's safe to say that it required a ton of learning. Nobody at Amazon had done anything like this before. Therefore, my team and I had to figure out from scratch a process of publishing our games onto the Apple App Store. And we did it. We ended up establishing a separate company. Again, as I said, I'm not going to bore you with the details. You fast forward to today, Amazon is publishing games not just on the Amazon App Store, but on a lot of other app stores as well. For example, Amazon is publishing games on the PlayStation, which is possible today, many years later, because of the work that I did and my team did back in the day. You're not an expert in a field, you're a complete novice, yet you go deeply you learn the topic, and you deliver an output. Does learn and be curious require you to become an expert in the topic? No, it doesn't. It requires you to come up with a working, elegant, and feasible solution. The expertise is going to come later. That's going to follow. Learning and being curious is about finding the initial nugget of knowledge and wherewithal to do something. Story 3 is why Amazon wants you to leave with a smile on your face even after a no hire decision. When Amazon interviews candidates, they care for 2 big tenets. 1, does this candidate raise the Amazon hiring bar? We've talked enough about this in other videos. 2, does this candidate walk away from the interview loop thinking more positively about Amazon than before the loop? Amazon views each interview experience as the ability for interviewees to learn about the company. Every single one of us is an Amazon customer or a potential Amazon customer. It's fantastic when Amazon makes a hiring decision, but they hire less than 10% of the people who apply there. Therefore, it's important for the ones who are not hired to walk away with this positive mindset about the company. That is another manifestation of learn and be curious. These individuals go in the interview not knowing about Amazon's culture or Amazon's people, and they walk out with a positive disposition to Amazon, even though they were not hired. That's a very tall order, but Amazon aspires to it no matter what. My 4th story is why curiosity feels like play and also helps to get you hired. When Amazon reviews its businesses in the OP1 rigorous review process, we've talked about this elsewhere as well, these processes are focused on efficiency and data and so on and so forth, but they also have an element of playfulness and curiosity. Jeff Bezos is known for asking each team, how are you encouraging customers to be more playful with your products? Similarly to a fidget, where you are enjoying yourself in the process by playing with your product, by being involved in it. How are you both as a builder enjoying that playful experience, and how you are encouraging your customers to be playful as they are consuming a product, because that's part of our nature as humans. Practicing this learning muscle would cause that openness to new ideas, which will result in better business outcomes as well. So how can you apply that mindset in the interview? Today is the best time of any to learn and to keep an open mind, especially in this age of AI and ubiquity of information anywhere. I strongly encourage you to just learn, constantly learn. Use the Amazon interview or any other interview you're going for as a pretext, as a reason to learn more about the company you're interviewing with. In a way, as the saying goes, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Effectively, you should try to be like a pawn on the chessboard. Don't be the smartest person in the environment where you're in. Try to surround yourself with people who are better than you, who know more, and learn from them. Always learn and apply that curiosity in order to further your own knowledge. And my 5th and final story today is to explain the difference between the leadership principles: learn to be curious, invent and simplify, and think big. These leadership principles come across somewhat similarly, yet they're very different, and I want to make sure that I clearly articulate how they're different. Learn to be curious is the one leadership principle across the board at Amazon where it's okay for you not to be the expert, where you're a complete novice and you learn something from scratch. That's the essence of learn to be curious. Always remember that angle. You are not the expert, and you're teaching yourself something new from scratch as the novice. Invent and simplify is when you are the expert and you have subject matter expertise. You see a problem in your job and you apply prior knowledge of you being an expert in order to solve that problem. The prior knowledge that you apply does have a precedent. Your current job, your current team might not be aware of that knowledge and know-how, but it exists somewhere else. And last but not least, think big is when you are an expert in something and apply a new solution that doesn't exist. But the biggest difference from Invent and Simplify is that there's no prior precedent for that new experience. In Invent and Simplify, you've borrowed it from somewhere else, from a different team or a different background. In Think Big, there's no prior precedent. Thinking big is when you apply a visionary mindset and build something from scratch without a prior precedent existing anywhere else. And that's it. This is all I had for you today. This is video number 9 in a series of 16 videos where I unpack each Amazon leadership principle individually so that you can master it in your Amazon interview. Now that you know how to master the learn and be curious leadership principle, you can jump into this video here next where I'm going to unpack the Think Big Amazon leadership principle. Think Big is, in my view, the toughest Amazon leadership principle to demonstrate in the Amazon interview. Watch this video next, how to do it. Bye-bye.